Hello. Hi, Margaret.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, I'm having here some technical issues, but well, Gabriel is over there, and hopefully we'll have our friend Sergio joining us as well. Okay, so he should be here. He should be here in a minute. How are you, Gabriel?
Well, I'm good. It's been a awkward day. Lots of humidity, some rain. We got some rain, a beautiful thunderstorm yesterday, so it looks like October, not exactly summer,
Yeah,
which is not usual here in the Algarve.
it's been quite a weird weather, but in here we've been having a lot of heat, a lot of thunderstorms as well. Okay, I think we have Sergio as well. So our live session is started. Good evening, everyone, and hi, Margaret.
Hello.
Please go on.
Good evening, everyone. For some of you who don't know me, these guys definitely do. I'm Margaret. I'm the admin of Travel Portugal and the creator of Travel Portugal group. And I'd like to today introduce you to Lionel from Desirable Portugal Tours.
Hello.
Hi, Lionel. Sergio from Portugal EV Tours. Hi. And Gabriel from GL Tours. And I forgot to mention.
Hi, everyone.
In the Algarve, as you could see, he was already talking about the weather. Central of Portugal, near Lisbon, and Sergio is up north in Porto.
Yeah, especially around the Douro Valley area, if you can tell by the bottles that I have just behind me.
Yeah. So we'd like to welcome you all today. It was our first live, so forgive us if there's any glitches or niches or whatever, because it's going to happen. It's Facebook. There's internets that hopefully doesn't go down. And tonight we'd like to talk about start our first session about the tips and the resources that many of our guides have posted on our group. It's become actually a very active part of our blog, of our Travel Portugal website, with many people looking at these tips. And so we're going to do that tonight. Also wanted to let you know that this is a trial run and that we are hoping to have these live sessions probably twice a month. Not going to guarantee that right just of yet, but that's what we're looking at. And we'll have different guests, different topics. We definitely want you to write your questions in the comments. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We will definitely answer them after the live. I'll go back to the comments and read your questions if they haven't been answered, and try to answer your questions. And if you have any suggestions for further topics for other lives, please let us know. So guys, go ahead. Which one wants to start?
Well,
Lionel, let's go.
I'll take the lead. I started the live session, so I was here dealing with the technical things, and well, I'm gonna address something that is a very, very common topic, and I wrote a post about that you can find on the Travel Portugal group and on the Travel Portugal blog on the tips and resources. That is about booking and buying the tickets for the attractions. Okay, this is a very, very common issue, and I see a lot of people still with a lot of questions asking, where should I buy the tickets for this or for that? Does this ticket entitle me to do this or that? And so, well, first of all, and unfortunately, the information about booking tickets for attractions in Sintra, in Lisbon, in whatever, the information of that, it's quite well spread out. Okay, so each provider will have its own websites. Each provider will have its own ticket shop, ticket platform, and so on. And unfortunately, there is no one size fits all solution for that. Okay, the majority of the websites, unfortunately, seem to have been built and programmed by people just thinking about local buyers. So a lot of websites, a lot of booking platforms are pretty much tailored just for the Portuguese well, or the Portugal located buyers, when they ask you for like an IF, that is the tax number or the VAT number, when they ask you for zip code, when they ask you for forms of payment that can be like the multibanco reference and so on. Okay, so the post I wrote that it's on the travel group, but it's pretty much synthesized on the Travel Portugal blog on the resources. Talks a little bit about that. Okay, so how you should do when the booking platform asks you to insert an IF or insert you the zip code or whatever, and which kind of payment, which forms of payment are normally used for foreign buyers. Okay, I would say that the most common payment form would be credit card, and that at least is more or less standard. So Visa, MasterCard, in certain cases they accept American Express. Then name, email address, phone number. Some websites require that or not, but information, it's quite straightforward. What I want to call the attention is for a lot of scams or a lot of fake information while buying tickets or booking tickets for attractions. Why is that? You see in plenty of booking platforms, Get Your Guides, tickets, Viators, and so on, plenty of offerings of skip the line. Well, sorry to let you know, guys, that in most attractions there is no skip the line. The only line that you end up skipping, it's the line to buy the tickets locally. So you end up going to the monument, and if there is a line to go in, you probably will stand in line. Okay, so there is no skip the line, there is no cut the line tickets. What you mostly do, or what helps you to do, it's to skip the line to buy the tickets locally. By example, I was in the Pena Palace. I didn't go in. But I was right in front of the Pena Palace a few days ago, and I still stand with my decision of not going in. But they removed the physical ticket booths. So now you have pretty much just the machines. You have some people helping you to buy the tickets on the machines. Well, from my experience from the past, those machines can be quite nerve-wracking, okay? And it really can be quite a headache. The software has become a little bit better, but it doesn't mean that it's so much user-friendly. So you, in most cases, you need assistance to buy the tickets on site, with the downside of getting there. Probably tickets for the interior being sold out. Tickets for the exterior are hard to find in most of the times because the software isn't easy, and you can take a lot of time just to book your tickets. So my advice is book ahead your tickets for pretty much all the attractions if possible, but always be aware that you need to be booking them from the official website. So those official websites are listed on the topic that we are talking about. So if you go to the Travel Portugal blog on the tips and resources, you'll find a topic called Booking Lisbon Attractions Online. It mentions more than just Lisbon, but you have the information over there or where you should buy the tickets. So I hope that with this brief insight, I will help you to understand a little bit more about this. And once again, as Margaret already mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, because we will be glad to answer to these questions during the live or later. Okay, so I'm going to pass the ball for Sergio. He might have a few more topics to add, and Margaret, feel free to add some comments if you want as well. Okay.
So thank you, Lionel. Good evening, everyone. I could go for a multitude of topics right now, but I want to make the thing a little bit more interactive. And let's start with people in the early stages of planning. One of the things that I would like to challenge people who are watching us right now is to sound off in the comments. When are you thinking coming over here to Portugal? When did you come over here to Portugal? What did you see and things like that? Because a lot of people, unfortunately, because it's out of their hands, they can only travel during the peak season, and that's why it's called peak season. But I know that there's a lot of people who like to travel on the shoulder season or even off peak, that they prefer it that way. And so there's also the factor of seasonality that you should take into consideration. And being a good tourist over here in Portugal, Also means that, well, we are taking care of our monuments, our attractions, and try not to be a burden on those monuments and attractions as well. I can pretty much guarantee that it's probably not gonna be very fun to stand in line to get inside of the Pena Palace and stand in line for an hour and a half. That's something that is more the Lionel topic. He's based in Lisbon. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Porto, but more specifically about the Douro Valley. September at the Douro Valley is absolute chaos. Sorry, I just had to say it. It's harvest season. Sure, everyone likes to go over there and to witness the harvest. But September is always, it's considered to be peak season, absolute peak season at the valley. As a local, the best time, in my opinion, to go there is actually late October, maybe early November, particularly for the Douro Valley because it's not crazy hot anymore. For people who don't know, temperatures at the Douro Valley, they usually go over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. That's well over 40 degrees Celsius. So if you're not accustomed to the heat, it's gonna be, you're gonna feel a little bit miserable over there. And late October, early November, it's in my opinion, the best time to go there. Not crazy hot anymore, not crazy touristy anymore, and you get to see what locals consider to be the most beautiful time of the year to be at the Douro Valley because we have the changing colors of the vines. We get to experience a more fresher weather over there. So travel, when you're considering traveling, that's one of the things that you should take into consideration. Obviously, at the time that you're considering traveling, and this is going to tie in with another suggestion that we made, another contribution that we made to the Travel Portugal group. Resources that you should consider are how's the weather going to be at the locations that I'm going to visit. And so try to plan accordingly and try to map out all of the locations that you'll be in. Because, for example, I've had several people in the past who were, for example, looking at the weather forecast for Porto. And on that day, they were going to take a tour to the Douro Valley with me. And the weather ends up being substantially different. Just last week, for example, it was a little bit chilly in Porto, and I had people who were wearing their sweatshirts. And at the Douro Valley, the temperature reached 35 Celsius. So that's just a little bit over 100 Fahrenheit. So definitely not sweatshirt weather.
Sorry.
So
sorry to interrupt you, Sergio. I wrote the topic about well, weather.
Exactly.
In fact, it mentions several websites where you can find the history of the weather for certain region. That can be very useful for that planning.
Yeah. And by the way, since we're talking about weather, another thing that it's very common to show up over here is that, well, what should we wear as far as shoes go? It's an old topic, and I would say that over here in Portugal, I'm sorry, sandals are good for the beach, but if you're taking a tour and 99% of the time, sneakers is the way to go. So that's it. We have cobblestone streets. We have the Calçada Portuguesa, very beautiful, particularly down in Faro. I know that Gabriel is probably going to talk a little bit about that afterwards. But even with dry weather, it can be very slippery. So sneakers are going to be your best friend over here in Portugal. So we have all of these resources on the Travel Portugal blog. And the weather section is also there. Lionel wrote a fantastic post about resources that can help you plan what to bring, what to leave at home. And if you happen to forget something, well, you can always purchase it here, and it's going to end up being a souvenir that you're going to bring home with you. So if we have the time, I'll go into another topic. But for now, I want to pass the ball to the far south of the country. So it's going to be a long throw, 560 kilometers approximately, down to Gabriel in the Algarve. The mic is yours, my friend.
Hi, guys. Well, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I want to show my gratitude to Margaret to invite me to join this format here. Of course, I think most people, they know we already run this format on Portugal Unplugged, kind of a spin-off of Travel Portugal, where we focus more of the beaten path, the art of unplugging. But the thing is, there's so many questions, and I can see now so many questions popping up. So, and this is amazing because it means people, they really show interest to our country, to our Travel Portugal group. So I'm going to try my best. We don't have much time because, like we talked before, we came to the air. 30 minutes would fly. Okay, so since I have this opportunity to show myself the way I am, and I love to do this because, of course, I'm not perfect, but I used to say I'm honest, and I try to be as blunt as I can. So I try to say what is the harsh truth, and sometimes not so popular. Okay, I'm gonna touch just two topics because then I want to let you talk. For instance, so many times the questions that people they post on Travel Portugal, they lack of many information. So I'm gonna beg you to be as more specific as you can. I see people saying, I'm gonna move there, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be in the Algarve, I'm gonna be where exactly, when exactly, and why? Because the season matters, the seasonality matters, the specific place matters. Make no mistake, Portugal is small, but we have a big heart and we have loads of diversity. So Portugal is way bigger than you might think. As for the Algarve, just for this small rectangle here in the South Portugal, it's so different. If you go to Lagos or if you go to Tavira, Faro, Albufeira, Algesur, Monchique, it's totally different. And because you were talking about the weather, of course, you've been seeing the same as I've been watching. People, they are always so concerned about the cold water or whatever. I mean, of course, in the Algarve, we have warmer water than in the West Coast. But when we say we have warm water in the Algarve, it doesn't mean the water is as warm as in the Caribbean. No, in Portugal, we talk under our standards. So because the West Coast is always so cold, of course, the South Coast, it's warmer than the West Coast. For instance, today we have around 23, 24 Celsius. I think maybe 74, 75, close to Spain in Montegordo. In Sagres, maybe we have 18, Lagos 20, Albufeira 22, Faro 23. So each place means something different. So be specific, and the more you share about you, the better you can be helped. Because, of course, I know it's not just me, it's not just us. I know all guides, at least the guides who really care about you, they need to know about you. So usually, of course, we have to make a report. We have to use empathy. We have to make lots of questions. But the thing is, the more specific you are, the better you will succeed here. Okay, guys, I'm going to pass the ball. I don't know, Margaret, if you want to add something, because as I told you, the time is flying, and for sure, I think maybe you have to run this once a week.
Oh.
Let's see.
How this goes. Well, just to carry on what you were saying, Gabriel, because I do see a lot of questions that are not specific. They're very general. And then we have people answering the questions, where is it? When is it? So please, that if you are more specific with your questions, you will get better answers. Because not just from the guides, but from members in general. We have excellent members with so much experience who've been to Portugal, who've returned to Portugal, who've been all over Portugal, and many of them are really invested in answering your questions. So that's one of the best tips, I think, is to make sure that your questions are more specific. And no question, like I know sometimes we have people that are rude, and I try my best to get rid of that, but it happens. So if you're insulted by somebody's answer, report it. There's a way to report it. Exactly. So it's very difficult for me to read every single answer to every single question. We get, almost 100 questions a day posted on here with multiple answers. So that is something that we have we try our best, but stuff does get by us. And the reason I'm saying that, because there are certain questions that some people get all, think about, like, what shoes to wear, like, what's the weather going to be like? But those questions, are what worry people when they're traveling, and everyone should feel safe enough to ask whatever question that they like. We just be more specific. Anything else you guys want to add?
I just want to say something because I see lots of comments and someone said they just lost her comment. But don't worry because we're going to keep this live. You know, you can watch the live after we finish the live. So it's going to be on Travel Portugal for about 30 days, I think, right? And then, of course, you can read the whole comments. And for sure, me and Lionel and Sergio and Margaret, we're going to try to help you as much as I can.
Yes, we will. We will read the comments and answer the comments. Yep.
Yeah, but we can start right away because I'm already seeing a couple of comments and questions over here. So, for example, we have over here.
Go ahead.
I have over here one from. I'm gonna address this one because this one is right for me. Jean McGrath. You have reservations at the Douro Valley in September. If you're concerned for mid-September. It's always a little bit difficult to predict the weather at the Douro Valley. It's its own microclimate, and anything more than 3-4 days in advance is nothing more than wishful thinking. So I wouldn't skip it if you already have your reservations. And considering for the time when you have it, it's going to be crowded. It's probably going to be a little bit more on the warmer side for sure. But there are some strategies that you can employ to avoid the heat at the Douro Valley, like for example, going out a little bit early in the morning and then stay hydrated. This is fundamental, and I cannot stress this enough for people who are taking tours and staying at the Douro Valley, because there is a lot of wine tastings involved over there, and one has a tendency to dehydrate really easily. So keep bottles of water with you, stay indoors during the warmest hours, enjoy to have lunch, a light meal, and take the river cruise. It's also something nice that you can enjoy and just chill for an hour, especially if you're doing that around 1 to 2 p.m. or so. So I wouldn't change. I wouldn't trade the Douro Valley for Nazaré. So that's pretty much it. This is my opinion. I'm going to pass on the ball right now also to Gabriel once again, because we have over here Dixie, who is asking, does anyone know how difficult it will be to rent long-term in Tavira?
Well, it's very difficult. You know, make no mistake, Tavira and all towns in the Algarve, they are struggling with this housing. And nowadays, because we have so many tourists and so many businesses like Airbnbs and that kind of stuff, so it's getting very hard to rent a house, even for people with bigger budget than locals. I mean, it's happening, and it's happening in Tavira too. Even I took a few days off this week, last week, and then I walked in Tavira with my family, and I saw, tourist is increasing touristy too. I mean, beautiful city. I posted about it. But make no mistake, when we walk on the streets of Tavira or Lagos or Albufeira or wherever, we see lots of HAL, alojamento local, local accommodation. So it's very hard someone to rent a house for the whole year. But it's possible. But I mean, I can't help you directly, but I know some people, they rented a house in Albufeira, so maybe I can pass you on to some people who already rented a house there, and then maybe you can talk with them. So Dixie, I'm gonna try to address your issue to them, okay?
So there's one over here, maybe for you, Lionel. Joe is asking, I hear a lot of people say Nazaré is touristy, looking for small traditional villages, town on a beach. I know that you probably have a couple of them in your sleeve.
We've been talking about that. In fact, I remember I replied already to Joe a couple of days ago. So south of Nazaré, São Martinho do Porto, Foz do Orelho. A little bit further south, Praia de Santa Cruz, Praia da Areia Branca. So Praia de Santa Cruz, I lived there several years. I moved out of there, 13 years ago. And it's my my beach place when I was a teenager. So that's pretty much still a place that I call home, and once in a while I post about it. So from smaller towns, in fact, smaller beach towns, Praia de Santa Cruz is great. Areia Branca is great as well. But it depends a lot on the season. So September, it's when it starts slowing down. Nazaré can be nice, but it's a bit of a hit or miss. So for smaller places, for smaller sites, well, we already have here a few suggestions. Then, of course, well, my beloved Ericeira, that I know that Margaret loves as well. But in September, it might still feel, well, a little bit lively, although it's it still feels authentic because it's the architecture, it's having the fishing harbor right in the center of town. It's those kind of things that still give it some authenticity. If the search, if so, it's for something really more secluded. Well, there's some smaller places, but those smaller places, might have one restaurant if they have, might not have a grocery store. So that is really to be in a very, very quiet environment. So what I've been suggesting, it's really the place where you still can walk out and find a few places to have a meal, a couple of shops to buy something, and depends a lot on how many days it's the stay, or that Joe wants to stay. Because if it's just for a couple of days, a smaller place to relax might be fine. But if it's for, imagine, to stay like a week or so, you probably will need to go shopping or to go out or something. And some places might start already to be too quiet or too small for that. So, my best bet would be really to, have a look at these names and, check um, what can suit your preference, because there's plenty of places. There's another one that just came up to my mind, Baleal. If you find a place to stay in Baleal, like a B&B in Baleal, it's one of the greatest places to be. But it's pretty much, if you want to go anywhere, you'll need a car to go shopping or whatever, because it's almost like an island, so it ends up being a bit quiet over there as well. So these are just my 2 cents about this topic. And as we were predicting, 30 minutes they just flew. We almost didn't hear Margaret.
To be honest, we started a little bit late because of me, so we can afford to get 5 more minutes.
I mean, you guys are the experts in terms of tips anyway, so it was great that you did all the talking. That's fantastic.
Okay, so I'm going to just rapid fire over here 2 very quick tips. Before I was talking about getting to Portugal and preparing your trip to Portugal, particularly regarding weather-wise. Once you get over here, how would you travel? What would you do? So 2 quick tips regarding traveling. There's quite a few options. A lot of people like to rent cars. Lots of people take trains. Even sometimes the airplane can be an alternative. So a couple of recommendations. If you're taking the train, the CP website is the only place where you should book train tickets. Never go anywhere else. This is the only platform, that's the official platform to book train tickets. You have the Alfa Pendular, which is a fast train, and also the Intercidades, which is a little bit slower. Those tickets can be purchased up to 2 months in advance. And if you purchase your tickets between 2 months and up to 2 weeks in advance, you can actually qualify for some sizable discounts, sometimes getting all the way up to a 40% reduction in your ticket price. So the CP website is the only place where you should book your tickets. We also have smaller regional trains like the Urbano, Interurbano as well. Those travel between neighboring regions or even within the same region. And those can also be very good options to visiting places that are located close to the town where you're staying. So for example, from Porto to Aveiro by train, it's nearly an hour. You can also go north to other destinations. You can also go, for example, to Guimarães, very beautiful. You can also take the train, obviously, to the Douro Valley from Porto to Pinhão. It's a 2.5-hour train ride, very beautiful, very scenic. And even if it's raining, I would say that it's definitely worth just hopping on the train and just having a chill day, enjoying the train ride, grab something to eat in Pinhão and then tour there, or then go back to Porto. Other options that you have to travel, renting a car. make sure that you read all of the fine print. And over here in Portugal, I cannot stress this enough. If there is one major recommendation that I can give people renting a car over here in Portugal, is that make sure to take pictures of the car as you pick up your car, and make sure to note any defects that are already present on the car before you sign the rental document, and have the renter make sure that all of those defects, those scuffs, those scratches, they are all noted in the document. The reason for that, well, again, we have a ton, we have more extensive information of that on the Travel Portugal blog, which we've already linked on the comments. And then finally, well, you also have buses. Flixbus is a very popular alternative to move between towns. To go from Porto to the Algarve, or to Algarve from Porto, even the airplane can be an option. Ryanair does somewhat frequent flights. And well, another alternative that I'm saving the best for last, you can hire one of the tour guides, and we can make that trip into an unforgettable experience, and for the good reasons, taking the stress out of traveling. And then you get to see some locations from a local perspective while you're traveling. I know that Gabriel and Lionel do that a lot between Porto and the Algarve, or the Algarve and Lisbon, etc. So yeah, there's quite a few options. So any quick tips that you guys have as well?
Well, I pretty much
so many.
No, I've been answering a few things here on the comments. What I really can say is pretty much, well, check the Travel Portugal blog, the tips and resources that are posted there. Those topics are pretty much, well, based on the topics we wrote on the Travel Portugal group. There's a lot more information on the Travel Portugal group, but it's a big group. I understand that sometimes it's hard to find it. Yeah. But well, every time you have a question, post it, be specific, give as much information as you can, and you might have already, well, some post replying to your question, and we will try to, well, to answer that on the best way. So that's my best tip.
Thank you, guys.
Well, my best tip, before I say goodbye, Margaret, thank you again. And I'm going to tell you, we have to keep with this. As you can see, lots of people, they are engaging, because for sure, lots of people, they like this format too. They like to see you, they like to see us. For sure, you're going to invite a host and other guides, and I don't know, you have to be creative too. And for sure, people will love to follow this. As for me, as Gabriel, Lionel, or Sergio, you can follow us every single Monday on Portugal Unplugged, because we run a live session just like this, and we've been helping people. They make us questions, and we'll be glad to help you there too. Of course, whenever, Margaret, you need us to participate here with whatever you need, we'll be there for you, because of course, since I joined Travel Portugal almost 3 years ago, I've been making so many friends, I've been making business, and of course, I'm grateful to you. I've been telling you this once in a while, and it's true. So I'll be here always for you, and I'm gonna keep supporting you, okay?
Thank you, Gabe.
De nada.
And we will see you guys on Mondays.
Yeah, well, we run our live on Portugal Unplugged on Monday. So well, from my side, I want to thank everybody that was watching, and well, any question you have, keep on posting on the comments. We'll be here to answer it. And well, let's make this Travel Portugal a live session. Well, a very useful resource for all the people planning to travel to Portugal on the well, on the future. Okay, so from me, well, a good evening to everybody, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Again, very soon. If you have any comments about this session, or you have any suggestions, please feel free to message me privately, and I'll get back to you. Thank you guys for participating. Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for the invite.
Good night.
Good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.